Welcome to the 2020 Youth Services System Good Samaritan Dinner. We would like to thank our sponsors, Lisa White, West Wind Travel, H.E. Newman Company Mechanical Service Contractors, and Ziegenfelder. And while we can't enjoy our meals in person together like usual, we would really like to see how you're celebrating tonight. Snap a picture and send it to tcruz@ysswv.com or send it to 304-940-6899. And to make a donation to Youth Services System, text GS 2020 to 44321. Thank you for watching and enjoy your meal.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the 12th annual Good Samaritan Dinner, sponsored by Youth Services System. I'm usually Bob Gaudio at a podium at the White Palace in Wheeling Park, but today or this evening, depending on when you look at this video, I'm standing in the YSS headquarters in the great big ballroom with a backdrop, and it's all kind of interesting and fun. And I'm all by myself except for the lovely videographer, and we're kind of alone and talking to each other. But right now you're attending a dinner, and hopefully you've ordered some of Charlie's fantastic food out of the West Sports Bar, and we're all sitting down to dinner. But before we do that, I want to welcome you. Thank you for coming. This is the 12th annual, believe it or not, Good Samaritan Dinner, and we're here tonight to honor some great people. Chris Figaretti, who is the pastor of the Vineyard Church, and we're honoring all of them, including Chris's lovely family. My job is as Master of Ceremonies is to introduce somebody who was just selected as the new president of the Board of Directors here at YSS. We're the people who get together 3-4 times a year and we help the business of YSS. And Bob Dobkin is that man. I'm proud to know Bob. I've known Bob for several years. We're getting to know each other better through the forces of being on a board of directors together. And I'm so proud to be a part of an organization that is led by him. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my friend and the president of the Youth Services System Board of Directors, Bob Dobkin.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual celebration. I'm Bob Dobkin, chairman of the Board of Directors here at YSS. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for participating in our 2020 Good Samaritan Tribute Dinner. Thank you, Charlie Schlegel, our 2019 Good Samaritan, and the many other volunteers that made this year's event happen. I'd like to recognize our Board of Directors, our CEO, John Moses, and his leadership team, and of course, our dedicated employees, all of whom make it their mission to say, in the spirit of our founder, Ron Mulholland, yes, yes, and yes again, to helping those in our community who need a lift up. Every year, the Board of Directors chooses an honoree to recognize as a Good Samaritan for their service and sacrifice that they make, allowing YSS to carry on our mission to take care of our brothers and sisters who need a helping hand, especially to those most vulnerable among us, our children. We are our brother's keeper, and fortunately, we live in a very generous community. Without your generosity, many of our programs would not be possible. So again, thank you for participating in our mission. Tonight, on behalf of the Board of Directors, we recognize and celebrate the Vineyard Church, led by Pastor Chris Figaretti, as our 2020 Good Samaritan. The award is named for the biblical Samaritan, who, in one of Jesus' parables, cared for a man whom robbers had left for dead on the side of the road. Others ignored the man, but the Samaritan gave him clothes and paid for his food and shelter. Our Good Samaritans consistently do the same by serving our poor and homeless neighbors. For more than a decade, YSS has operated the Winter Freeze Shelter. Each evening throughout the wintertime, our guests are greeted with loving care. They are provided warm, dry clothes, medical care, social services, fellowship, and a safe place to rest their weary bones. And to top it off, a hot meal. Many of us can't even imagine how it must feel when that nourishment hits the belly. We're fortunate not to have that frame of reference. Gandhi once said, There are people in the world so hungry that God cannot appear to them except in the form of bread. The Vineyard's commitment to serving people's physical, emotional, and spiritual needs, no matter their station in life, is visible in the church's many outreach ministries. For many years, the Vineyard members have cooked hundreds of meals for our winter free shelter guests. In 2019 alone, more than 40 volunteers from their ranks cooked around 50 meals that included over 500 pounds of beef and 10 turkeys. Special thanks to our 2018 Good Samaritan, the Ziggy tribe, for keeping everything cold. The Vineyard's outreach goes beyond YSS though. Through mentoring programs at Madison Elementary School, free summer football and cheer camps for our local youth, the enormous annual egg hunt, and the Be the Blessing campaign that shows the love of Christ to our neighbors in need throughout the Ohio Valley. YSS is blessed by their loving participation. Without uttering a word, they make God appear to our guests and prove that even through the darkness and despair, the loving light of humanity can shine. So tonight we say thank you and we celebrate the Vineyard Church led by Pastor Figueretti.
Thank you, Bob Dobkin. Now, as we always do, we will have an invocation presented by a very special person. It is Chris Deuce of Chris Deuce Ministries. Chris is a former addict who found the gospel through his addiction and through rehab, and he's here tonight to present the invocation for the 12th annual Good Samaritan Dinner. So without further ado, I'm proud to introduce Chris Deuce.
Hey, Wheeling family. In Scripture, we have a divine tension between publicly doing good things and privately doing good things. The words of Jesus are clear that if you give to the needy, do not let your right hand know what your left hand is actually doing. But on the other side of things, there's also things that Jesus spoke and said where he said, let your good deeds shine before others, to let your light shine before others. Well, which is it? Is it to hide the things we do to help people, or is it to let our light shine before others? And it's a tension. Absolutely, we should hide the things we do, right? If we're going to help someone, then we should not be, hey, look at me, and all proud, except on the other side of things, that there are times where we need to let people clearly experience the love and grace of Jesus through our actions. And I think Pastor Chris Figaretti and the Vineyard Church holds these truths in tension beautifully. That they help so many people that you would never hear about it. That there's people they help, the poor people in the city, the orphans in the city, the addicts in the city. They help people all over the place, and they aren't talking about it really. It's kind of hidden behind the scenes. But every time you encounter anybody from Vineyard, especially Pastor Chris, it's very clear that they are a picture of Jesus. That every time you interact with them, you see, man, that they love Jesus and they love people so well. And I don't think that there's a better candidate than Pastor Chris and the Vineyard Church, who have helped so many people privately and publicly. I love you guys.
Hey, my name is Myron Jellison. I'm the next gen pastor here at the Vineyard Church, and just want to invite you to pray with me as we begin. Father, we just thank you for tonight. We thank you for this event. We thank you for YSS and the work that they do to those in need, and what they stand for and what they represent and what they bring and provide to our community. I thank you for the Vineyard Church and the Good Samaritan Award that's being received, and Chris Figaretti, and God, just what unity and what partnership and collaboration is being demonstrated here tonight by people coming together in this community, serving Wheeling, serving the Ohio Valley, and making a difference. So I pray that you would get all the glory tonight, that your light would shine, your love would be made known and evident, and continually empower these organizations to continue to serve those in need in the Ohio Valley. Thank you for the food and the dinner and the event, and wherever we're tuning in remotely, that we would just be unified around this common cause of continuing to be the light of Christ to those in need in our town, in our city. And I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
We are here tonight, as you all know, or today, or whenever you're watching this video, because it's kind of interesting in these, shall we say, difficult times to know when anyone will be watching this video. But whenever you are watching it, we thank you for being here on behalf of the Youth Services System, which serves a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And you may not know how many ways Youth Services System serves the public, the Upper Ohio Valley area. The facilities that Youth Services System runs are the Samaritan House, the Helinski Shelter, the Youth Achievement Center, the Tool Center, the Ronald C. Mulholland Juvenile Center. And those are the facilities that Youth Services System runs. We also have emergency youth shelters. We also have life skills and employment programs, outpatient and community-based services, a youth mentoring network, substance abuse services, including 2 of our houses and soon to be 3 of our houses, the Mary Margaret House, the Lazarus House, and the soon to open Mark's House. We have transitional living and housing services for people who need them, safe place information for people. We have, of course, the now becoming famous Winter Freeze Shelter, community child care, before and after care. Those are some of the, and not all of the programs that Youth Services System has, and it is ever expanding under the leadership of John Moses, who can't say no. Okay? When someone comes to him with a project, some need that's going to help someone, no matter if it's a youth or not a youth, John Moses has no ability to say no if it's possible to get it done. And we're happy about that, even though it makes it a little more difficult for the board of directors to talk about everything 4 times a year. I'm guessing sometime soon we'll be having 6 times a year or 8 times a year. We'll see. But it's okay, because John has always been following in the footsteps of Ron Mulholland, whom I knew back in 1975, 76, when he showed me the very first unit, of Youth Services System, when he developed it. Samaritan House was the very first place that Ron Mulholland opened for troubled youth to get them out of the juvenile programs. Okay. John was an employee and followed in his footsteps, and here we are today with all these expanded services. Looking at all the wonderful things we're doing here tonight in the 12th annual Good Samaritan Dinner, sponsored by the Youth Services System. I'm Bob Gaudio. I'm always the Master of Ceremonies because nobody else wants to do it. It's kind of like the guy that runs for mayor because nobody else wants to be mayor, okay? That's me. I have the pleasure right now of introducing children, and as you may or may not know, when children are in any type of video or acting on the stage, you get out of their way. The adult lets the child have the scene, and in fact, I want to do that right now. Christy and Chris Figaretti have 2 great kids. Okay. I had the pleasure of getting to know one very well when I helped direct him in Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs a couple of years ago. Deuce is now grown up and he's got a job, and those things happen if you don't kill your kids, right? They keep growing, and you have to give them clothes and give them a place to live and stuff. But anyway, Deuce is a good friend of mine, and his sister Josie is someone I don't know that well, but I'm sure if she and Deuce get along well, I'd like Josie too. So what I'm happy to do right now is introduce Deuce and Josie Figueretti, who are going to thereafter introduce their parents, which is kind of cool. So Deuce and Josie, come on in.
So our family likes ice cream a lot, but specifically black raspberry chocolate chunk. Now, one weekend we got this ice cream, and for the whole rest of that week, it would disappear in the night, spoonfuls at a time, and nobody knew where it was going. We would go to get it there the next day, and another spoonful would be gone. Now, we didn't find out who was getting the ice cream until about a month later, when our dad revealed to the entire congregation that he had been sneaking downstairs at midnight with only a spoon
in his underwear
to get the ice cream.
And the funny thing is, after that sermon, he went to the store to get more of that ice cream, but it was all gone because everyone from church got it.
True story.
I didn't set out to be a pastor. It's not ever been my ambition. It's my calling. It wasn't my ambition. And I'm not sure that I would do it if I weren't doing it here, because of the people who make up the Vineyard Church. They are amazing people. They serve, they give, they love.
We just are so outward focused that we want anybody and everybody, doesn't matter what race, socioeconomic class, like if you can speak good English or not, like it doesn't matter, like we love you.
The people, are, like I said, are just so loving that it's just home for me.
But going to the Vineyard and seeing how the members of the Vineyard, how they prayed, and the heartfelt talks that they gave, you felt like Christ was there.
Jesus goes where love has not yet arrived. And I think of Chris, and I think of the Vineyard Church, when I reflect on that, because they take love where they go.
So the Be the Blessing campaign was our attempt every single year to just like magnify that characteristic about this church. Like we do it all year long, but we want to, again, not like in a look at us, look at us, look at us, but hey, look what we're doing. Like, welcome to what the Vineyard is all about. So let's rally around this weekend. Let's see if we can raise a ridiculous amount of money that seems impossible. And then we promise that we're going to give it away.
And we typically raise somewhere between $25,000 and $75,000 to invest in our community and serving people and helping organizations. We don't just write them a check, although we do that. We send volunteers and we build things and we help them do what they do.
In the last several years, the Vineyard Church has given us the ability to offer hospitality to the people that stay at our winter free shelter. They've made up to 50 plus meals for such a large crowd that we gather here. With the help of Ziegenfelders, who agreed to store all of those meals that had been pre-made. The only downside is I couldn't get the cooks to tell me the recipes.
And Cheryl Post is our kitchen coordinator. She's totally a volunteer, but she produces and puts together all that food. With a team. The whole team comes together, but they're all, everybody would tell you Cheryl's the person who makes that happen. She doesn't take a penny for it. It comes out of love. She contributes to it to make that happen. And year after year after year, if we couldn't do it, she would be so bummed out because her ministry and what God has put on her heart is that people need food. And nobody goes hungry. This is kind of something that we say a lot around here. Nobody goes hungry as long as we're around. And Cheryl is the person who puts feet to that.
It's just feeding people. I love to watch people eat. And it just makes me feel so good. And I call my team. If I didn't have them, I would have never been able to do it. So, they make it so easy for me because all I have to do is tell them what to do.
Yep, Miss Cheryl is an amazing person. She's so humble and so unbelievably capable. I don't know anybody else that can manage the kitchen with all these volunteers who may or may not know what they're doing, including myself, and organize it to have all these dinners, separate and delicious dinners put together. And she's amazing.
You just stop and think that, they're eating something that, we all had our hands into it. And it's just a blessing to be able to do it.
One of our staff members, Barb Randolph, who attends the Vineyard, had come to me and she stated that Chris Figaretti, the pastor at Vineyard, had wanted to outreach to our school. and to find ways that they could just, become a blessing to us. I truly feel blessed because these people now I feel like are a part of our school. They come in and here at Madison, I feel like we're a family. So when they come in, I feel more connected now to the Vineyard because they have just jumped on board and cared for our children here at Madison the way that we have.
The mentoring program has been amazing, where we have paired adults with kids. Our mentors range from age to 84 and 85 to people in their 20s.
The morale of our kids has just tremendously skyrocketed. The mentorship would happen bi-weekly, so it would only happen a couple times for the children a month. And I had seen their attendance just become better because they were working toward that. They set goals with their mentor, whether it was academically, something personally. But on days that mentoring would happen, you could just see them walk in. If I would see them in the hall first thing at 7:30 in the morning, it was Mrs. Trio, today's a mentoring day. I'm so excited.
So my mentee was having a very hard time right before COVID. So probably 2 months before COVID, Barb and Principal Trio and I were sitting down and talking, and they reached out to me and they said, "You've made such an impact on her life." And they were talking with my student and they said, "What can we do to help you be better? Who's making an impact in your life? What little thing can we do?" And my student said, "Well, Miss Vicky makes the impact for me. If I could see her more regularly, that would really help me." And I ended up going to her parent day at the school. I think as much as I've probably impacted her, she has impacted me and opened up my heart to be able to love and to care for her in whatever way I could.
My right hand on the Be the Blessing initiative every year is our office manager, Vicki Smith. And Vicki takes my harebrained ideas and lists and turns them into reality.
With that, I'm the paper pusher in the background. I get to sort through everything, make sure I handle all the volunteer sign-ups, create sign-ups.
The things that we do in the community, and I said this when they approached me originally about this Good Samaritan Award, I'm not the guy that makes those things happen. I might be the guy at the helm of the organization and casting vision for, hey, I think we can do this, but then it's an army of people who step up and go, and we're gonna do it.
So I just wanna, I know Chris is saying that it's not about Chris, but without somebody at the helm of the ship who is calling out commands, turning the rudder, turning the steering wheel, seeing what's coming up on the horizon and navigating us. So it does take somebody with a vision and a selfless heart and a character like God's leading us to help that permeate all the way down through the entire church. So yeah, it is the church, but he is the one that really kind of gets to set the tone and the example.
Well, I mean, so being a part of the Vineyard has impacted, when I say my entire life, I really mean my entire life. I mean the direction of my life, because Chris was my pastor when I was in college, and what he has poured into me from that point, for me being young, before I had a family, before I had kids, before I had a job or anything like that, he poured into me in ways that helped direct my path.
He's always thought of himself last, and always puts everyone else first. And community-wide, church-wide, it does, he's a big picture kind of guy. And he surrounded himself by amazing, amazing people.
Chris is just an amazing guy. He genuinely gives his heart to whatever he's involved in, and I just think that he's the perfect guy for it.
Having known Chris for over 2 decades, he's getting an award for being a good leader and for being the Good Samaritan and helping those in need. But one thing that I want to make sure doesn't get missed is that he's just a good friend.
I
regularly thank God for Chris's presence in my life. I feel like he's just been a huge blessing to me. His whole family has. And he is an amazing husband. He's my best friend.
All right, well, Chris, you've always been a friend. Always been somebody that I can call, that I can reach out to for prayer. You're one of my longest, most faithful friends. And the amount of care and love that you've given to me, to my family, to my kids, to my wife, to my parents, your impact in my life has been monumental and will last for eternity.
Chris, you've been a friend of mine for over 20 years, and you know, you've always, if I needed to be put in check, you've always, as a brother, put me in check. And I've always appreciated that. I always appreciated your love and your honesty and the way that you've just always been there.
Chris, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our family. And always, whenever we call, you're there. And you've always said that anything I need, just ask. And every time I've asked, you've always followed through.
Chris, you are the pride of your parents. You've done wonders in your short time on this earth. You have brought people together to pray, to help others, to do good. And I think that's exactly what Jesus Christ would want from all of us. So God bless you, my friend. Good luck.
Chris, thanks for 22 years of friendship. Thanks for being a co-worker and a guide and a support in all the different stages of life. Thank you for leading us, for sticking with it, for staying with your convictions, and for helping us as a church be the blessing along with you.
So Chris, I never wanted to do this. Thanks for roping me into it. I probably wouldn't want to do this kind of work anywhere else with any other group of people. And you set the tone, you set the bar, you set the example, and it's a privilege and an honor. Thanks, bro.
Chris, I just want to thank you. Thank you for your heart, for the heart that you have for the community, for the church, for me, for walking alongside me and encouraging me and seeing in me something that I didn't see in myself.
Chris, I'm just happy you came into my life. You don't know what you have done for me.
And to my amazing husband, Chris, you always have been and you always will be my hero.
I live my life trying to follow Jesus. And Jesus said, if you want to be great, you need to be a servant. And if you want to be a leader, you have to go to the end of the line. And so I just believe really strongly that we lead by serving, and that pedestals are dangerous things. I try and stay off of those. And I'm just Chris Figaretti in Wheeling, West Virginia. I have some chickens and a little piece of land, and God has given me this job to do, to pastor this church, but it's not a position of I'm up here and people are down here. We're in this together. We're a team, and I think we lead by jumping in and serving and being with one another.
And here's our dad.
You know, Chris, of all the scripture that I remember, the parable of the Good Samaritan has made me weep, and it has made me kind of a call for action. So on behalf of the YSS Board of Directors and our staff, it gives me great pleasure and honor to present to you the statuette of the Good Samaritan for you and your entire Vineyard Church as a reminder of all the good that you do in the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
It is, it's an unbelievable honor to receive this on behalf of the Vineyard Church and all the people in our church who serve in such amazing ways. The Good Samaritan is a story that we come back to frequently because it really does define the ethic of who we are as a church, or at least we want it to. Right. My hope in all of this, I have two hopes from this. One, the way we communicate the good parable of the Good Samaritan in a pithy way is we say, be the blessing. And my hope and my dream for our whole community would be that everyone in the Ohio Valley would make be the blessing their mission statement, because they would be living out the story of the Good Samaritan, and it would make this valley the greatest place on the planet to live. Yeah. And the second thing that I would like to see come out of all of this is someday I want to see John Moses receive this because he deserves it as much as anyone. So thank you so much, John. Thank you, YSS. It is a privilege and an honor, and we are humbled to receive this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do you have, Tara?
I have fresh grass-fed beef.
Where's it from?
It is from Wilhelm Farms, a touch-up Amish store on National Road.
What a great gift.
We heard you like meat. There's some T-bones, ribeyes, and some ground beef in there for you.
Oh, man.
We were going to deliver piglets. But
that would have been
we think
probably
next year.
A little stressful. Where is Williams Farm?
Wilhelm Farm is actually in Valley Grove, but they also, Ann Carroll, who is Wilhelm, Touch of Amish on National Road in Woodsdale. Where do we put this?
Thank you.
Go put it by the porch steps, please.
That is awfully kind, and you did not have to do that,
Well,
but thank you.
Funny story. It's signed.
My guy Joel, yeah.
I got it signed for you. And then I thought, when I saw him on your list, I thought, he probably already has a signed copy. And so I asked Christy, she said, yeah. And I said, I'm still going to give it to him because he said, I would loan you a copy, but I think my copy's out. So now you have a copy to loan everyone.
That is awesome.
So there you go.
What a great family and what a great community the Vineyard Church is. We thank them for everything they've done, not just for Youth Services System, but for the community as a whole. My next duty is to introduce a friend of mine. We've known each other I figured it out the other day, we've known each other for 54 years. And, we must have been babies in the cribs when we first met. But actually, no, we met as freshmen at the St. Joseph Preparatory Seminary in Vienna, West Virginia. We were 9th graders, and we were starting to study for the priesthood. Thankfully for the Roman Catholic Church, neither of us became priests, but we did get to know each other so well as freshmen, and we became roommates as sophomores. I lead into that because John and I had some interesting experiences in the seminary. When you have a whole school full of young men with no distractions like girls around, all you have is a gym and a swimming pool and a big grounds to walk around on, you get into some mischief. In our case, the sophomores, I was sophomore president of the class, we were supposed to put on this great play in the spring. And the play had to basically be a parody or a satire of the faculty, the staff, and fellow students. So Kevin Chalkowski, who's from Wheeling, and I, and a couple other people wrote this script, which was very disrespectful of a lot of people in the building. And we put this great skit play together, just a series of skits, much like Laugh-In was back in those days on television. And one of the skits reflected an event that had occurred only months before. In early December of 1967, Christian Barnard, a doctor in South Africa in Cape Town, performed the first heart transplant in a human being. And the guy lived. Okay? And that was history, and it still remains history. We wrote a skit around that idea. We had a fellow in our class who clearly resembled a chicken. And we actually called him a chicken out in the hallways and stuff. And he didn't mind because he realized that he looks like a chicken. But anyway, we took this young man, whose name will remain nameless because we don't want, he's probably somewhere and making millions of dollars and probably will sue me. He was part of the skit. And what we did was we had a live chicken and this young man behind a screen, and we did a heart switch in the skit. And we used a live chicken because we had a biology teacher who was a chicken farmer as well, and he brought us one of the hens that weren't laying. So we had a hen, and we had this young man, and we did the heart transplant. It was hilarious. And then after the show was over, we had this live chicken, which the biology teacher had gone home. And I went to our rector, who was Father Schmidt, who then ultimately became Bishop Schmidt, and I said, Father Schmidt, what am I supposed to do with this chicken? He said, Bob, I don't know what to tell you. So I took it to another one of our faculty members, and I said, Father, what do you think I should do with this chicken? He says, Bob, I have better things to do than worrying about what happens to this chicken. So John and I had a live chicken in our room that evening, but we lived in a room where we stepped out the window, it was a flat roof. So I put the chicken out on the flat roof and hoped that it wouldn't make too much noise, but it did. It made enough noise to get us in trouble. So I got John Moses in trouble because of my stupidity of having a live chicken in a skit. Okay, so that's the story. I was not kicked out of school. I was reprimanded. John, unfortunately, did catch some flack as a result of it, but he's forgiven me many, many years ago. So without any further ado, let me introduce a man who does not need an introduction. He is a stalwart member of our community. He is such a giving human being and a wonderful guy and a great friend. And I am happy to introduce the Executive Director of Youth Services System, John Moses.
On behalf of 279 homeless people that we served last year, on behalf of a staff of people that are inspired by Vineyard Church's goodwill, we have immense gratitude to you and for your actions. You've taught us great lessons of what love can do and how it makes a difference in the community. Thank you.
Okay, well that's it for the evening. We'd like to thank Greg Molnar for the wonderful music to start out the evening. Everybody that was here to speak about the wonderful folks at the Vineyard Church and the Figueretti family. This has been such a great evening, and we're so much fun and so much community, and that's what it's been all about, ladies and gentlemen, and you know that. The youth services system is about the community and making sure that our children are taken care of, even the children that are troubled, children that may be addicted. And now we've expanded our wings a bit, and we take into our fold, into our tent, adults who are addictive, adults that are homeless, with the free shelter and all the programs that we have to try to get people jobs. And you are helping us by being a part of that and supporting Youth Services System, and we thank you very much. We hope that on the 13th annual Good Samaritan Dinner that we can be together again live. Hopefully we will get a cure for COVID-19. Hopefully we will have a vaccine for COVID-19 by next year about this time. If not, we'll do our 13th just like we're doing it now, because it's that important. We congratulate Chris Figaretti and his wonderful church, the Vineyard Church. We hope that we can keep them in our fold and keep them in our prayers. We certainly will do that. And next year we'll have a new Good Samaritan. Who knows who's that going to be? I don't know. But whoever it is, if I'm still breathing, I guess I'll be the master of ceremonies. So people, thank you very much for being here tonight, and good night, everybody. Be well, be safe.
Thank you once again for watching the Youth Services System Good Samaritan Dinner. Our sponsors are Lisa White, West Wind Travel, H.E. Newman Company Mechanical Service Contractors, and Ziegenfelder. And to make a donation to Youth Services System, text GS 2020 to 44321.